lower, but it is lower. It's more like 20 and change. In a way, I calculate these things in my sleep, and I don't have any data to do. When we look at poverty, the poverty rate for all Americans is 12.8%. That's 1 in 8 Americans is poor. For African Americans, it's 24.5%. For Latinos, it's 20%. Again, there are disparities, and so we look at these things. People always want to give you a macro number. Economic justice suggests that we look at the micro number. Women still don't earn half. Don't earn their share. Women earn about 75% of what men earn, and I have a concept I call fair share thinking. What's fair share thinking? Women should have half of the goodies. We should be half of the United States Senate. We should be half of the United States Congress. We should be half of the Fortune 500 CEOs, but we're not. In Congress, we represent about 17%. It's under 20%. We combine Congress and the Senate, still under 20%. How many women CEOs do we have in the Fortune 500? About a dozen. 20 at the most. So what percentage does that represent? It represents 5% max. And so we're looking at, and now someone will tell you, we don't need to have half. Many women will say, well, because we have elderly force, we have children, we don't need half. Yes, we do. Why should we have half? We hold up more than half the sky, in the words of a South African proverb. And so, but these issues of economic justice need to be discussed. Another issue that we rarely discuss is class. Class is like the hidden beneath the surface. We have this myth that if you work hard, you'll get ahead. I'm going to tell you there's no harder work than being poor in rich America. There is no harder work than being poor in a rich country. And so when you look at folks who are making it in poverty, they work a lot harder. It fascinates me how they're those Costco's, right? They don't have Costco in them. Now, they have Costco in the suburbs. The people in the suburbs do not need Costco. They need Costco Hood. I mean, you have large families in hoods, and Costco, you got 24 rolls of toilet paper at some ridiculously low price, etc. All people who have large families need it. They don't need Costco in the suburbs. They have like 2.2 cars, 2.2 kids. I mean, everybody can stand a bargain. But you just look at it and see the way that resources flow and placement exists, and it becomes an issue. So class becomes something. The fifth issue that I've identified is something I call identity formation / choice / value. What do I mean by that? I think that for young people, more so than for the younger you are, the more important it is for you to get in touch with yourself. Some of the things I was saying about leadership. But you must resist the temptation to accept other people's labels and choose your own labels instead. Do you want to identify yourself as African American? Barack Obama chose to. The entirety of the commentariat was yapping about, well, his mother is white. He chose to identify himself. That was a choice he made. If you read his book, Dreams of Our Fathers, he talks about the time he made a deliberate choice to identify with the African American community. He didn't have to. There are a group of people who call themselves biracial. There are people who have other or multiracial. You even have check on the census for that. The decisions you make about how you identify yourself are important. I have lots of friends and colleagues and young people who grapple with sexual orientation. Many of them grapple with the question of whether that's going to be the first, second, third part of their self-description. Are you first gay or lesbian, or are you first African American, or are you first female? Because you're not going to give someone you meet them this long story. The elevator speech have all that in it. So how do you choose to identify? And I think if that's a young person's view, it's an important issue. It also is an issue around choice and values. What do you choose to share? What do you choose not to share? What do you stand for? How transparent are you? When will you throw down, and when will you choose not to? And why do I add family formation to this issue of identity formation? It is an outline back up to the first issue of the economy. Young people are delaying making adult decisions because of the debt that they have when they graduate from college. More and more young people are going to move back home to live with parents, which causes inevitable generational conflict. You've been away on your own for 4 years or 5 or 6, and then you move back home and you have rules. But more importantly, many young people are postponing marriage and family because they believe that they cannot afford to basically form families at this time. There's a book called Generation Debt by a young woman, I think her name is Tamara Drought. And it's a fascinating book that actually studies how young people are postponing all kinds of adult decisions because of debt. What kind of debt are you facing? The average student graduates with $20,000 worth of student loans. The average African-American student, $26,000. The average HBCU grad, $28,000. It's not unheard of young people to have $50,000, $75,000, and $100,000 worth of debt. You can borrow $40,000, $44,000 from the federal government, $10,000 for your freshman and sophomore year, $12,500 for your junior and senior years. So basically, by the government making that much money available, they're allowing the possibility that there's not enough grant money out. When I graduated from college in 1974, I had $2,000 worth of debt. $1,000 was because my mom said I was going to have to pay for something. $1,000 was because I was sick. I took out a loan to follow somebody to Mexico because I just thought that would be an interesting thing to do, and then I had to pay the money back, which was interesting. I'd rather wasn't working, but that's another story. But in any case, not 1,000, I mean, you know, whatever. But in any case, we had the room to take out those loans back in the day. Now, I mean, it would be very difficult to do that kind of thing. We, through the Barack Obama administration, we see the Pell Grant being larger at up to $5,350, an increase of $690. But just that up. When tuition, room and board at college is like $22,000, where does the other $17,000 come from? So we have chosen not to invest in young people, and it's going to come back and bite us. Civic engagement is number 6. We saw an election that was like magic. People write about the 2008 election for generations to come. One of the things we know about that election is the only group of people that did not vote for Obama in the November general election were old white men, basically. There's another way to put it, but young, basically old white men. Senior citizens who were male and white. And the white male cohort down to about 35 didn't do Obama. But young people across race, gender lines voted. 68% of young people voted Obama. That's an amazing statistic and an interesting one. But the question with civic engagement is, where does that interest go? What happens with young people and the engagement? And politically, are we prepared now to have more intergenerational sharing power? After seeing the stunning accomplishment, we see a bit of it. Gwen Eichel's book that talks about the new black politicians, the average age of those folks, looking at a Kamala Harris in California, you're looking at Cory Booker, looking at Adrian Fenty in Washington, D.C. So you're looking at a younger group of folks who feel less connected to the civil rights movement. But the civic engagement issue is about the new alliances that young people are in. The 7th issue is healthcare access. Why is that an issue for young people? First of all, most of y'all don't have insurance. When you graduate from college, most of you will find it very prohibitive to get health insurance. Many of you are covered on your parents' policies until you're 20 or until you graduate, whichever comes first. More importantly, as you move your generational cycle, what's happening is that as the economy remains as challenged as it is, we're not only talking about you and your health insurance, we're talking about possibilities of your provision for parents and for others in your extended family. So the healthcare issue is a fairly important issue. 8 is education, is efficacy. Into a college campus, what I put it as 8 and not as 1, because again, I think the economy affects all of this. But what do I mean by education efficacy? If you look at people who are 25 to, you look at people 55 to 64. 55 to 64, the United States ranks first in having educated people 55 to 64. Among people in the United States, 40% who are 55 to 64 have an AA or BA degree. We rank first. No country comes as close as we do to educate that accord. But let's go back 30 years. Look at 25 to 34. It's the same 40%. What that means is that we have not improved our ability to deliver educational services in 30 years. We have not improved our ability to deliver education in 30 years. And so what that means is that many of your peers who should be sitting right in this room are not here. Many of your peers who should be walking across this campus are not here. Why aren't they? You can tell me better than I can tell you, but you know what stories are. They couldn't afford it. They got diverted early. Why are we allowing this to happen? My thesis is because the educational pipeline has been broken around. Many people have become more indifferent to who is in that educational pipeline. Let me say this. Many people will talk about education crisis. The entire United States does not have an education crisis. If you go to certain suburbs, you'll see high schools that look better than many universities. You'll see places that give people, in the 3rd grade, everybody gets an Apple computer. It's a laptop. In the 3rd grade. Where I have 2 or 3 students that I know of who don't have laptops. But push more computers, more access because they don't have laptops. So we basically have inner city educational crisis. We have poor people's educational crisis. We don't have a rich people's educational crisis. We're supposed to pay, and we don't have a brilliant people's educational crisis. If you have a 4.0 and you earn less than $40,000 a year, your parents earn less than $40,000 a year, you can go to Harvard for free. A principal or no, they've all. If you have a 4.0, but how many people actually have 4.0? And so again, we look at some bifurcation, look at some silos. The 9th issue that I have down here is the future flows. The whole issue of future flows, looking at countries like basically given our changed demographics.
This may be redundant with the issue of economic justice and with the issues of identity formation, but in some ways it is not. By 2050,